Economy of Kazakhstan in the years of independence. The development of Kazakhstan during the period of sovereignty is characterized by large-scale and fundamental changes in the country's socio-economic system. So for 10-30 years in the field of economic reform, the following results were achieved. The negative consequences of the collapse of the USSR and the administrative system of management were largely overcome. The formation of the regulatory framework has been largely completed. In the process of privatization, a mixed economy was formed and a sufficiently developed private sector was created. No more than 70% of the country's gross domestic product is produced in the private sector. Basically, stabilization in the financial sphere of the state has been achieved in the field of public finance, national currency exchange rate, stability and liquidity of the banking system, etc. At the same time, reforms in the economic sphere proceeded with ambitious and tangible end results that didn't bring. Kazakhstan had to go through a series of crises: the crisis of economic growth and the inflation crisis, the payment crisis, the investment crisis. During this period, the economic reform of the Republic of Kazakhstan has passed several stages. The first stage covers the period 1993-1993, 1992-1993, those from the beginning of a radical reform of the economy to the introduction of its own national currency. At this stage, property was transformed by means of denationalization and privatization, deepening financial destabilization. An unprecedented increase in inflation, hyperinflation took place, which devalued the accumulation of the population. There was a decline in production in all sectors of the national economy. During this period, the macroeconomic policy was determined by Russia. The republic's economy was completely dependent on Russia. The second stage of market transformations covered 1993-1997, when the republic introduced the national currency and began to reform its own macroeconomic policy. This stage is characterized by the creation of regulatory framework governing relations in the field of taxation, budget and banking, foreign trade, the development of markets and market infrastructure. The main result of the second stage of the reform was a fundamentally new economic policy, as a result of which the process of transformation of the common economy into a market economy became irreversible. The main elements of the new economic policy are liberalization of the economy on the basis of engaging market regulators and reducing forms of state regulation of economic activity, liberalization of foreign economic activity, opening the country to foreign capital, the practical implementation of the principles of free pricing, etc. began. Formation of the foundation of a mixed economy with a predominance of the private sector. The process of privatization was completed. The development of entrepreneurship, small and medium business, the expansion of the necessary conditions for healthy market competition, development of market economy institutions and infrastructure. A foundation of market infrastructure was created, including a network of banks, investment and insurance companies, stock exchange, audit firms and other facilities, creating a relatively balanced consumer market. In the process of reform, a balance of supply and demand in the consumer market was achieved in a relatively short time. For most consumer goods, the supply began to exceed effective demand. However, this process was caused during this period not so much by the growth of domestic production as by the initiative of importance and the decline in solvency of the majority of the population due to the depreciation of savings, the cessation of production, and new increase in consumer prices. Financial stabilization. There was a decrease in rate of inflation, a consistent increase in the gold and foreign exchange reserves of the state. Positive trends with respect to the balance of the government emerged. Foreign trade turnover. There have been trends in the stabilization of production in a number of industries. If these five elements of economic policy can be attributed to achievements, then at the second stage of economic reform problems have arisen. These are: a significant decline in production led to an exacerbation of problems in the social sphere. So real incomes of the population for 1991